Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about my Power-Ups calendar that I made. It's a culmination of several different people's methods on how they make calendars, and I'm going to show it to you today. As you see, it looks just like a regular calendar. In reality, it's just a bunch of galleries mixed together with shapes and labels and so on and so forth, as Power-Ups is known for. Alright, so this is the main screen. As you can see, it has the days of the month in the upper left hand corner. Upper right hand corner has an icon for adding events, and depending on which icon you select, it'll preload that day into the start and end date. This is set up for one-day events, but you don't have to. It works better if you keep in the one-day events, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Now, the boxes you see here do not extend over the lines, okay? So I didn't play with doing multi-day events, but for this it works perfectly. As you can see, everything's color-coded, which I will show you how I did later on. Alright, so to start off with, of course, your only permissions is always an issue, right? So what I did is I created a SharePoint group, and whoever is allowed to add and edit events and delete events, I put them in a SharePoint group, and they are allowed what's called quote-unquote admin access, okay? I use a Power Automate to check the SharePoint group and see if they're an admin. If they're an admin, it will put this little admin box up here. Now, if we come out of I'm in edit mode right now. If we go into here and we go unstart is where most of my action happens here. It's where I create all my variables and stuff. This is admin variable right here is what determines whether you see the icons and the admin box and all that. So what I did is I put a reverse formula in here to have it do the exact opposite of its things. As you can see, when you switch it to a non-admin role, it takes the admin box away and all your icons disappear. And along with that, when you edit items, no actionable stuff will be on there. It's just for looking. Okay, so if you open up an event, oops, sorry. I meant to click on an event that didn't have a series in it, which I'll show you. You'll see here shortly. Alright, so as you notice, nothing on here is clickable except, you can click on stuff, but it doesn't do anything. It's in a display mode. Okay, and the link that would normally be here, you can click on the link, but that's about all you can do here when you're non-admin. Okay, it's just for looking. Okay, now if you're an admin, everything comes back. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring and then we go on starts. There we go. Now we're back to being an admin again. Alright, so let's go back to play. Now I set all of these events. I made some reoccurring events in here. You'll notice if it's a reoccurring event, it will have the little sync icon right here. If it's not, it will basically just look like the Independence Day one, like the holiday. Okay. Also, what I did is you hover over the event, it'll tell you the type of event it is, so you can tell what the color means. As you see, these are all different. Now, first thing we're going to show you is how to make a new event. So, as you can see, there's a little calendar icon in the upper right hand corner. depending on what day you want. So let's go on a different month so we don't have any events. Okay, so we'll say on the 9th we got a meeting of some sort. Okay, so you click on the icon, it'll bring up this form. All right, so we'll start out here. We'll go, let's call it a meeting, I guess, doesn't matter. You know, just to test the multi-day thing, I'm going to see what this does. So I'm going to make this go from one day to the next day. Okay. Type of event, meeting. Coordinator, I'll put my name. This is my environment. Event, meeting. Now, this is a rich text box, so you can put hyperlinks, you can make, you can underline, superscore, make italics, whatever, bullets, whatever. So just like you do in an email, okay? So you can do that here. Now, if this is a reoccurring event, you can click this little slider, and what it'll do is it'll bring up some fields. How many occurrences do you have? Let's do 2. Happens every, now you can do it, there's different elements here. You got days, weeks, and months. Okay, so say this is a every 2 week thing. So 2 weeks. You can create proposed events. So what it did is it says meeting, type of, just happened the meeting type and the meeting name is the same. From the 9th to the 10th, and then 2 weeks from the 9th is the 23rd and 24th. Okay, once you're done, you hit save. And that's what I figured it would do. Since it only reads start date, so I still got to figure out that problem on how to make multi-day events. But as you can see, it created at least the first day. Okay. And that's how you create a new event. All right. Now, if you want to edit it, now there's 2 different modes as far as editing goes. Okay, I'm going to show you the first one since there's no holiday in August. Holidays are the only thing in here that are not reoccurring. Okay, so let me show you. When you click on the text, on the rectangle where the text is, it will open up a form that shows that event and all the details that were put in for it. So since it's a holiday, I didn't put a training coordinator or comments or anything like that. So, and you can upload attachments to this thing, but I don't have it where it displays the documents once you edit the item, or not edit the item. When you go ahead and edit a series, which I'll show you here in a minute. Okay, you basically make your changes and you hit save at the top. Now there is the ability to delete the item right from here. Okay, you can do that if you want, or you just leave it. Now if you don't make any changes, you can either just leave it like it is and hit the save button, or you can just hit the cancel button in the upper left hand corner here. Okay, now the ones that got the reoccurring event icon have a little different behavior. You saw it earlier when I accidentally clicked on the recurring event. So if you click on the recurring event, it's going to bring up a window that says, hey, do you want to modify the single event or do you want to edit the series? If you hit edit series, it still will, you still can edit a single event, which you actually do. But this makes it a little simpler for some people if they don't have to deal with the big screen. Okay, single event looks just like the edit thing. Okay, oh, I need to fix that. I thought I changed all these. This is a text box, and since this comments field is a enhanced text field, enhanced rich text field, it won't display the HTML. It'll just put the HTML code right in there. Essentially, the only thing in there is this right here. It's the rest of it's all tags. All right, which when you see edit series, I replaced the edit series one. I just didn't replace this one, so I still have to fix that. This thing's still a little buggy. I kind of threw it together last night because I wanted to be able to put this on YouTube. All right, so as you see up here, it says level event is meeting. This has a hyperlink you can click on. You see it does go to a hyperlink, which is just a make-believe URL I made, and everything else is here. Okay. Same thing with the other one. You know, you got your 2 icons up here. You know, your save and your delete, and you cancel. Now, if you want to edit the series, you click the same thing, hit entire series, and it brings up this screen. Okay, see how this, the describe event and the comments box is the same box. I just called it something different. I suppose I need to make the labels the same, but it's the same. Now, depending on which event you want to change, you just click on the line, and if you watch up in the form, when I click on the second line, watch what happens. It will change to that data. Same thing with the third one and the fourth one. So if you want to change these, like say the times change or something, or the dates change, whatever, like you're going to move one day or the other, you can do that. You just got to click, say the second one right here. Say we want this one, it's going to be on the 11th instead of the on the 11th instead of the 10th. Okay, you change that, you hit the save button up here. Now you won't see the change right away down here because it has to pull that data. All right, it doesn't pull automatically when you hit save, which I probably could set it up that way, but once you're done, you hit the back button and you'll notice that one of my events from the 10th moved to the 11th. Okay, and then when I click on this series, it's still going to show all 4 events because they're tied together by an ID column that I made that tells it, you know, which items belong together. Okay, I call it series ID, and it's just a number, and I just told it to pull that number when one of those are selected. But you see right there, the event still stayed in here. So if you want to change the titles, meeting type, anything about this in this form, it'll write it, but it'll still keep them together because you can't change. Once that meeting ID is created, you can't change it. Okay, unless you go into SharePoint, which I don't allow people to do anymore. I make them stay in the form. All right, so that's how you edit a series. Now, in order to delete the series, what you do is you go in here and you remove each of the events individually. Okay, now another thing I added to this is, what if you want to extend your series, right? You want to add more events to the end. Okay, so I added this, change the number of occurrences. Okay, now this is going to add on to the end of this. Okay, so you're essentially going to make another series, but you're going to use the same ID as this. So if you open it back up again, it'll show all the events, not just these 4. All right, so say we want to add, we're going to do 2 months more. Okay, we're going to do 7 days, and of course what it does, how it knows this is it bases off of these here. Okay, it takes all the events and finds out how many days are in between each event. Okay, we know there's 7 days in between, right? So I'm going to leave this 7 days, and then you hit this button over here. Now you can change this date to whatever you want. Maybe it skips a week and goes on to the next week after that, and you want to make them after that. You're more than welcome to do that. That's why it's editable. Okay, hit this, and this is, I need to put scroll bars in here, but there's one more event on here you just can't see. I just got to make the thing bigger. It shows you the proposed events. Nothing's been saved yet. Nothing's saved since you hit commit changes. Okay, so once you hit commit changes, as you can see at the top, it's got the little dancing thing up there. It adds in, and then it repulls the list. Okay, now we have 12 events in here now, instead of just the 4. Okay, and then once you're done, of course, you just hit the back button again and it brings you back out. Now, if I look in the next month, you'll see what it did. It added all those events there, all those events there. Now, there's 2 events here. You just can't see the other one because it's hidden, but that meeting's there. So now what we want to do, since the 4th of September is a holiday, you can come back in here, edit the series, find the 4th of September, and delete it, because you know it's not going to be there. Okay? Once you're done, come back here, and you'll notice the reoccurring event icon went away, because that reoccurring event no longer exists on that day. Okay? Now, we're going to go through here now and delete the series. Okay? Now, you don't, when you're doing this, you're not really deleting a series. You're just deleting single events within the series but then once all the series events are gone, then you just deleted the series. So it's actually easier than it is in Teams. All right, so let's go through here, and every time you delete one, it refreshes. So that way you know it's working, okay? So it's, as you can see, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, when you get down to the last event, just disregard that arrow up there. I don't know how to get rid of that. It's not really doing that. It's, for some reason, it thinks there's a division by 0. But when you close it, you hit the last one, it's going to bring you back to the calendar. And when you look for that event, that recurrence, it's gone. Okay? Now, one thing you're going to notice with this calendar, that typically, you know, you're going to see, most people think because it's 31 days in a month at most, and you do basic fuzzy math, you know, you're going to think, yeah, the most weeks that could be in a calendar is 5 weeks, right? That is true when you think about the 31 days, but since we're doing a grid, you got to think about the days that are around the month on either side, okay? So, as you can see in June, there truly is 5 weeks, because the first day of the month starts on Thursday, and the last day of the month ends on Friday, okay? So that works out nice. But what happens when your first day is a Saturday, okay? You'll notice when you flip to these months that most of the time it'll be 5 weeks, okay? Because of where the first of the month starts. But in April, you'll notice it creates 6, okay? So if you stick with the 5-week mentality and you start on a Saturday, you're going to run into a problem, because you're going to chop off the last day or 2 of a month. So if you chop off that 6th week, look what happens. You don't have the 30th anymore, okay? And the same thing happens in July, okay? July starts on a Friday, if I remember right. No, it starts on Saturday as well. And look, you'll chop off the 30th and 31st. So what I did is I wrote a formula in there it counts the days of the month of the current, it takes the first day in the view, and then it goes and adds a month. And if the number of days is greater than 34, it puts a sixth row in there, okay? Each one of these boxes has an ID attached to them. Starts at 0 and goes up to either 35 or 42. Or no, I'm sorry, 34 or 41, because 0 is counted as the first number. Okay, we're going to have either 35 boxes or we're going to have 42 boxes. Okay, and that's what makes this work. Okay, so let me show you the items of this gallery. As you can see up top, I know it's kind of small, so I'm sorry about that, but I can't make it any bigger. It says if date diff, the first day in view, which is one of the formulas you saw earlier. It just determines what number this is right here from the previous month, and then add 1 month, and then I want it in the form of days, that value, okay? And that value, if it's greater than 34, so basically 35 and above, it's going to go, it wants other items to be 41, which makes 42 boxes, okay? I have the wrap set at 7, so it ended at 7, then it wraps to the next row. So this is actually a horizontal gallery that is set to wrap count of 7, as you can see right here. All right. Now, if it's less than 30, if it's 34 or less, it's going to do 0 through 34. Okay, and that's how this works. Okay. The rest of these kind of work. Now, none of these boxes are actual dates, okay? Keep that in mind. It's just that calculation every single time. So if you look at this number right here, oops, sorry, it's telling me what day this formula is representing, okay? So we're taking the first day in view. Like I said, the first day in view is like our anchor. Okay, it's our point of reference for everything. So we take first day in view, and then add the value of the box. Okay, so that's what this item value is. So the first box in view will be 0, right? No matter what. It's either 42 or 35. Or 41 or 34, sorry. And since you add 0 to that, the first day in view is the 25th of June, right? So if you add 0 to that, it's still 25th of June, and then it takes the day value of that date and puts it in the box. And that's how it knows what date it is. Okay? Now this formula is the basis for everything else inside this calendar. Okay? So for the event right here, okay, we're doing a lookup to my list and saying the text value of start date in this format, if that is equal to the date add formula I was talking about, converting it to a text format in this format, when those match up, I want you to display the event field of that date. Okay? And that's why all these are different, because if we go to the SharePoint list, you'll see that these events are on these days. Okay? Same thing for this. Well, the new event's a little different because it's not doing anything. All I'm doing is say, hey, I'm using a custom form for my new event, so I have to clear all the fields first so they're blank. I'm going to clear the collection that gets created, and then I set a few variables here, and then I tell it to open up the form, okay, which is just a container, which is over here under, where is it? I have a lot of containers in here. Create container new event. Okay, there's a variable that's tied to the visible of it, and when someone clicks that icon, it opens up that form, okay, or that container, which the form is encased in. Okay, now the reoccurring, which is right next to, is the icon right here you can't see in the first one. Okay, as you can see, it's not selectable, but it does show under certain circumstances. Okay, so basically I'm doing a filter from my SharePoint list with that formula I always use. Okay, it's targeting that date, whatever box it's in. It says, I want you to count the rows inside that. I want you to count the rows of that filter. So it finds that one date it's looking at and says when it equals that date and the reoccurring field is equal to true. It's a yes no field, okay, or a true false. It's a Boolean field. Okay, so when it equals true and there's more than one item that meets that condition, you are to show the icon. Otherwise, don't show it. Okay, and that's how that works. Okay, and that's pretty much all that's in the calendar right here. Now, the way I do the conditional formatting is the fill property of the text box. Okay, so if you go to fill over here, now fill and color I kind of use in tangent because some colors will make the one color of the font, the lettering, the color of the lettering hard to read. As you know, some are black, some are white. Okay, if it's a light color background, I put a dark color font. If it's a dark color font, I made a white colored thing because it's easier to see. Now, like the working group one, I probably could have made it black, but it was like, you know, it's that color is just like in between, so I just kind of left it white. So if you look here, I made a switch command that says, hey, I want you to look up on the SharePoint list with our formula. I want you to target level of event, and if it equals meeting, make it this color. If it's a Teams meeting, make it this color, so on and so forth. And this gives you your conditional formatting of your background. Okay, and the color is set up similarly. except it's either black or white. Okay, same labels, same formula, except it's white or black. Now you can make these any color you want to, but traditionally you want it white or black because it's easy to see. So they can, I mean, the whole point is though so they can read the letters, right? All right, so that's how you do the conditional formatting of the calendar. Now, all these forms that have a gallery in it, all these galleries are being controlled by collections. Okay, collections are temporary lists that you can use, and then once you close the form, they go away. They're not real things. Okay, and if you go on the left side here, you'll see I have several collections that I use. Okay, the first collection, collection 1, is mainly for making my new event reoccurring events. Okay, my number of collections never changes. Okay, it's a 1-row collection that gets created every time I do one, but you don't want it. It's for making a number of occurrences. Okay, now this is limited to 20. Okay, I found if you make more than 20, it has a tendency to break or have some glitchiness to it. Okay, you do not want to do more than 20. Okay, this number collection will never change. Okay, and that's that one. Okay, and then when you want it on my edit series window that has a collection at the bottom, that's what this one's for. Okay, it basically shows your dates. Now these are, I'm not sure what it's doing here, but I think it's the text for, I think what it is, the day of the, it's the day that it's using, but I think what it is I think it's converting it from 1/1/1900, kind of like SharePoint does on the old on-premise. That's how it knows what day it's referring to, and it just changes the format. But everything else looks like it's supposed to, right? Now, it only shows so many rows. Actually, I just realized this. In the new, when they changed this over, it used to only show the first 5 records, but now it shows them all, I guess. As you can see, you can flip through here and see all the different collections that gets created. And this is very dynamic data, okay? Every time you do either a clear collect or a collect, it's going to change. You know, this is not, and it's not saved anymore except inside the form. That's why we use collections, because it's faster, okay, than going out to SharePoint and pulling the data in. But the data is saved in SharePoint. So, and I think I pretty much covered everything. If you have any questions or comments, leave it below in the box, and I hope you guys have a nice day. And I will be making another video that actually shows you how to make this.